What are you talking about? Nothing's on backwards. Hey guys.
Clothes on backwards.
The social norm that I broke was wearing my clothes backwards. A social norm is a pattern of behavior that is expected in a given situation or a certain scenario. I broke this social norm by walking into the room with my clothes on backwards. I wore a black pullover with black sweatpants on backwards. The norm is wearing your clothes frontwards with the tag in the back. This is the norm for any type of situation involving clothing. I felt awkward breaking the norm because I felt like it drew attention to me. I also thought that my clothes were not comfy when I wore them backwards. They did not fit as well considering the fact that they were not made to be worn that way. The people in that room that I walked into did not really correct me on my clothes being backwards. All they did was tell me my clothes were backwards and asked me why I did this and what the reasoning was. They thought that it was funny how my clothes were not on the right way. They made jokes about the fact that I looked goofy wearing my clothes that way. I believe this norm was created to keep the order of which way our clothes should face. I think that the tag is added onto clothes to not only show the size and what the shirt is made of, but to also show which side should face forward and which side should go in the back. I also think it would be weird if someone decided to wear a hoodie with the hood in the front because you would not be able to see and because it would defeat the purpose of a hoodie. Also, if you wore a jacket or a button-up shirt with a collar, it would look out of place when the buttons and zippers are on the back of your body. Clothes were also made to fit in a certain type of way. They were not made to be put on backwards, therefore also creating a norm of which way our clothes should face. Usually you can tell which side goes on in the front because of logos or maybe a pocket on the shirt. During this experiment, I found myself trying to put things in my pocket, but I could not because the pocket on my pullover was on the back, and the pockets in my pants were not easy to access with the way my pants were designed. I planned on going into that room because I knew that there was quite a few people in there, and they would be the best to point out that I did not have my clothes on the right way. I think this social norm was fun to experiment. Some people may not really realize that wearing your clothes the right way is actually a social norm. It just is something that we have always done because that's always been the right way to wear your clothes, and it's something you have been taught since you were little. I never really thought of wearing my clothes backwards as being a way to break the norm. I found people's reactions to be pretty typical considering how funny I looked with my outfit not being on the right way. Although this social norm would not be punished because it is not a law, you would get looked at different and people may make fun of you. Also, the feeling of being out of place or not fitting in was a big conflict for me when I was walking upstairs with my clothes on. I think the biggest challenge of this experiment was trying to feel comfortable with wearing my clothes backwards. I honestly did not want people to see me dressed like that because I was afraid of what people would say or what people would think of me. Everyone follows this rule because I think people don't know any better. There has never really been a trend of wearing clothes the wrong way in the fashion world, although there might be in the future. Clothing items were also made to be worn a right way. Ads never show socks being worn backwards because that would not really work, and shoes not being worn backwards because that would not really work. So why should people wear their clothes backwards? I don't think anyone has really thought twice about wearing clothes differently because they are bought to be worn facing the front. If you were to see somebody walking down the road with their jacket on backwards, your initial reaction would more than likely be to question what they are doing or if there is something wrong with them. I think that was the first initial thought of the people whose room I walked into. I also thought that I looked a little crazy wearing my clothes that way as well. This assignment helped me get out of my comfort zone and helped me experience feeling out of place. I think it is important to keep social norms because otherwise people may think that you are crazy or something is wrong with you. I also think it is important because it keeps a certain society in line involving customs and values along with beliefs.